Okay, welcome back, everybody. We'll get started with our next two lectures of the morning. If you all take your seats. All right, keeping on time. A couple of other announcements. Want to make sure that you all remember that this week pain skills training is really only the beginning. Through Walter Reed, the National Capital Region Medical Directorate, we offer multiple trainings. And if you can go to our second, yes. So we offer our quarterly buprenorphine waiver training, battlefield accurate, our case-based webinars, the first Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the month. Also, we offer an addiction case-based webinar, acupuncture, pain, functional medicine. We offer our monthly pain grand rounds, our monthly pain journal clubs, our annual substance use disorder symposium, which is coming up September 11th. And on the next slide, you'll see some of our resources. Remember, these lectures for today are all on the Mill Suite. And on the next slide, here are our Pain and Neuroscience Distinguished Professor Lecture Series for this upcoming academic year. And we have a lot of our colleagues, a lot of our friends are willing to give us talks. We're offering all of those via Adobe Connect also, so feel free to call in for any of those. And we'll go back to our introductory slide. Remember, one of the most important things about this week is building the community of practice. Remember that it's really making our connections, talking to people that maybe you know, don't know, and really expanding your access to resources, bringing us all together. And we're bringing together pain specialists, very young in training to pain specialists, such as myself, that are very old and have been around a long time. The interdisciplinary nature of this training is really phenomenal. We have everything from nursing, pharmacist, social worker, and many, many others, primary care, specialty care, and the like. So again, the ability to have workshops, to do our workshops, everybody there, everybody really bringing in their ideas, really making it very powerful and really strengthening our training. So again, building our community of practice, I really emphasize, wear your name tags, reach out and just talk to people. And that will really help you in bringing back skills when you go back to the exam room on Tuesday morning, I believe, since Monday will be Labor Day. So with that, we have two more sessions this morning. Our first is we're very, very fortunate in having our patient talk to us today. And this is Lieutenant Commander Patrick Millam. And I encourage you to read the bios. We can read Lieutenant Commander Millam's bio. I don't want to embarrass myself because there are so many acronyms with the awards and his outstanding accomplishments in the bio. But I want to really welcome you, Commander Millam. Again, we're very fortunate to have you, who's been dealing with pain for the past several years. And we want to really appreciate our patients' experience in battle with coping and overcoming and helping all of our patients as we return back to our clinics. And with that, Commander Millam, I'm going to turn it over to you. And then I have my colleague, Dr. Harold Wayne from Walter Reed, where we're going to ask you maybe a few questions.
Absolutely.
And I will get for you the microphone.
truly an honor to be here for you guys today. I'm not hiding behind this trident today. I'm just totally come clean with everything that's happened to me.
Excuse me, sir. Because of the live stream.
Okay.
Sorry.
Even better. Awesome.
So, again, Lieutenant Commander Pat Malim, Bud's class 196. Class started with 16 people, and graduated 16 people, started with about 120. Basic Underwater Demolition School, or BUDS, is 3 phases. Third phase is the land warfare phase, and BUDS is a good place to talk about pain management. And cold and wet and tired and just being miserable. So third phase, I'll just call it 2 months. You do your first month in Coronado, and then the class flies out to San Clemente Island for about a month and start doing land warfare, shoot, move, communicate, all those kind of things. As soon as we landed in San Clemente, all we have to do is just 1 month and we're going to graduate. As soon as we landed the aircraft in San Clemente on the runway, we were unloading the aircraft full of ammo, full of weapons. So I'm picking up one part of this heavy weapon case, and I'm walking backward off the ramp. I trip over something and catch myself with my left wrist. Turns out I broke my left wrist, but I didn't tell anybody because I was going to graduate. I was not going back. So I can do pull-ups with a broken wrist. I ended up doing push-ups, knuckle-wise, with a broken wrist. And I was still able to shoot, move, communicate with a broken wrist. I did a 3.5-mile swim with a broken wrist. I didn't really care. I was going to graduate. So about a week before we head back to the island, the corpsman, the SEAL instructor, Instructor Blah, he goes, "Malim, get over here." I go, "Yes, Instructor Blah." He goes, "What's going on with your wrist?" I go, "What are you talking about? How come you're not doing push-ups with your hands like this?" And I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to come clean. I think I broke it when we came off the aircraft. He was like, "Oh, man. Okay, if you graduate, right, we got a week to go. Of course I'm going to graduate. Don't go to the ceremony with a cast." And I was like, "Deal. Go to the ceremony without a cast. After the ceremony, go see the docs and get a cast." And I was like, too easy. Definitely. That's where my pain management started. I'm going to set this here. Okay, so the war's kicked off. And my platoon was the maritime option in the Mediterranean, take down ships, those kind of things. It's called VBSS. I'm not going to bore you with what it really means. So we were training constantly how to take down ships, right? So our boats come up at night, we hook it, we climb it, we take down the bridge, we take down aft steering, we control the ship, blah, blah, blah. Well, the war kicked off, and we were getting ready to take down a ship. We come up on the ship, hook it, the number 1 man climbs up, I'm the number 2 man, I climb up, and we hit a wave or something, and it shot me over the rail. So I landed like really awkwardly, and I was like, wow, that hurt, but continue mission, and let's go. So the next day, my back is in spasms.
my back, I can't breathe. My platoon chief comes up to me and, he's trying to do direct pressure, nothing's happening. Then I finally go to see the medic, the ship that we were stationed on. And without an x-ray, he begins back manipulation with no x-ray. We redeployed. CONUS, maybe a month later, I went to the dock at Little Creek. X-ray had 2 compression fractures, T4, T6. So the doc was manipulating my back when I had 2 compression fractures.
Probably about 4 weeks later, I got an offer to go to breacher school. Breacher school is, the breacher in the platoon is the guy who opens the door, whether it's explosives, shotgun, manual tools, it's a good school to have. So with a compression fracture, 2 of them, I was like, yeah, I'm going to breacher school. Yeah, absolutely. So there's kind of like this internal drive, right, that guys like myself and other guys like myself have. I was the lead breacher on the FTX, the final training exercise, and gas masks, dark, no light. Come up to the first door, lay a charge on it, blow it, no problem. Go inside to the second door. I run into a residential door, which is just basically any kind of door. In fact, I'll use this thing as an example. So I come up to the door, right, and I'm banging on it, and finally I get the chainsaw out. Get the chainsaw out, start it up. They've got a New York lock on the other side, which is basically a steel bar on the other side. So I take a manual tool, called a hooligan tool, and all I have on are flight gloves, real basic gloves. Take the hooligan tool, bam, try and hook the door down. Because now a steel residential door, when you cut it with a chainsaw, the metal becomes like a razor blade. That's all a steel residential door is just tin and that foam inside. And when you use a chainsaw on it, it becomes a razor blade. So I hit the door again, bam, trying to pull it down, it whips back up. I hit the door again, bam, comes back. And meanwhile, I got the assault team on either side of the door. They were anxious, they're ready to get inside. Finally, I grabbed the door with my flight gloves, pull the door down, get on my hands and knees so the assault team can hop over the New York lock with 2 compression fractures. So I'm holding the door, and the #1 guy, probably the biggest guy in the platoon, he decides to use my left hand as a launch pad. So basically, I'm holding the door like this, and he steps on it, and I said a few nasty words at that point. I can see the instructors with the flashlight. Everything we did was videotaped. Come over, and my hand is just sitting there, got a gas mask on, can't feel my fingers. Took my shotgun, took off my gas mask, immediately went down to Portsmouth Naval Hospital that night, and within a day and a half or 2 days, they sewed me back up. I had severed a tendon and 2 nerves in this hand. Luckily, physical therapy and good surgery by you guys, I'm able to make a fist, which is good stuff. In Iraq, we were guarding the Iraqi, this is all open source, right? We were guarding the Iraqi Prime Minister. We were basically his Secret Service, right? We were coming back from a meet somewhere in the red zone, and he had 2 really nice limos, and my team had a Suburban and I was shift lead in the back, which means I'm kind of like the secondary guy in charge. I had this bad black Ford Expedition. This thing was massive. It can take 7.62 round, and it was fast. Long story short, we're coming back into the green zone. We're on a bridge, a 4-lane bridge. Night. My point vehicle somewhere got lost in the HESCO barriers that are out there at night. It took the wrong turn, got lights in his face or whatever, so the limos kept on going. We followed the limos, and then we would eventually take lead, and my point would take rear. Pretty simple. Well, the limos took off on the bridge. They were flying. So I told my driver, Wag Dog, I go, well, let's go take point. So right now we're probably doing 80 on this bridge, and I tell Wag Dog to pull in front of the limos, in front of Ayetta Lally. Wag Dog, he pulls in, starts to lose it to the right, comes back to the left. We're saying, get it, Wags. He didn't get it. We did a 180, hit a curve, took out a telephone pole, left 10 feet of the telephone pole, and did our rolls and all that. I didn't have my seatbelt on. I ended up in the floor where you put your feet in the passenger side, and I just remember my comm guy and Wag Dog saying, everybody all right, everybody all right. I was down like a sock, and I was like, ow, that effing hurt. Anyway, got taken to the cache, jacked up my head, jacked up my right shoulder, and I was off the detail for a couple weeks, but got back into it right away. Last story I'll tell is we went up to Mosul. We were going to do a counter-sniper mission. Apparently some bad guy was killing Army guys, our guys, somewhere up in Mosul, Tal Afar area. So we got sent up there to hunt this guy down. On our way to our insert point, we were inserting at 4 Strikers. Everybody familiar with what a Striker vehicle is? Big vehicle with big tires. We hit an ID hole. We were probably doing about 40, 45. Hit an ID hole. We were the lead vehicle. And a couple guys broke their arms. Nobody got seriously hurt. But we continued mission, right? Just reconsolidate, hand out, change out gear or whatever. And we ended up killing the sniper. We found him, shot him, verified it through the grapevine. So we saved American lives, paying a price for it though. That kind of segs me, I did my last deployment in 17 to East Africa. I was doing a third world country meet, and I'm a Cat 1 collector as well, so I can technically recruit people. And this is kind of, this part here kind of goes into the mental health piece of it, right? So I got all this physical stuff going on. I got chronic lower back pain. I got 2 torn tendons in my right shoulder. I've severed tendons. I've got no cartilage on the inside of my right knee. I got a blind spot in my right eye. So that's the physical piece. And I've had these things for probably about 10 years. Go to Africa, do that mission, come back, in September of 17. November, what holiday is in November? Veterans Day. Prior to that, I had 5 friends that I used to go out and drink with, and shoot with, and operate with, commit suicide. And I think at that point, it kind of makes you wonder if you're vulnerable to it. Honestly, today I've never thought about it, but when your friends are doing it, it's kind of like when's my turn? You know, when's that demon gonna hit me? So Veterans Day, I'm looking through YouTube, and I like this band called Five Finger Death Punch. Don't laugh at me. That's a new band. It's not the Eagles. I'm teasing. They got this video called Gone Away. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's like, you know, the demon came to see Uncle Pat, and it wasn't good. I think the thing is that you don't know what is going on. So, go to work and see the psych. She's like, oh yeah, you're going to NICO, like as soon as possible. NICO was in March of 18. I didn't know what I had probably honestly for like 2 months before I went to go see the psych. And I just wanted to go see the psych about physical ailments. And then within 5 minutes, she's got me crying on the couch. I'm like, what is going on? So for 2 months, I thought I was going schizophrenic. That's not a good place to be. So before I went to NICO, I made what was called a caustic cocktail. Basically, every day I came home from work, I'd take 8 shots of whiskey, like fast. Like pour, drink, no chaser. Then I would fire up Ambien, but that wasn't good enough, so we had to add Valium. So I did that for about 2 to 3 months. Anxiety was off the hook. I'd have to pull over going to work and have an episode. I don't know what you call it. Have an episode. The day I left for NICO, I was partying with, I don't know, like 4 good buddies of mine, drinking tequila at a Mexican restaurant. I probably had 8 shots right up my alley. Once you break down in front of team guys, whew, in a bad spot. So with the NICO, you guys probably know the routine. Day 1, you gotta go tell about yourself, you know, in front of all your doctors. I told me out for the last 2-3 months, I've been doing this caustic cocktail, and they all got their notebooks out. It was hilarious. What helped me, I think, because I was all in. the art, the psychiatry, building the mask, the music, I was all in. Because honestly, I couldn't go another, 2 or 3 months. When the headaches become a 9, you just kind of want it to go away. And it does. When the headaches are like a 5, you're 6, they just linger for days. For days. And you can't shake it. So I would try and get it to a 9. So I would watch that video, a 5-finger death punch, and I would start drinking, and I would try to get it to a 9, because once it got to a 9, I knew, it would be okay. Sat in my kitchen many times at night, crying uncontrollably. It's really weird. I call it the demon. So you got all this physical stuff going on. Now you've got all this, mental stuff going on. You got buddies committing suicide. I can compartmentalize big time. But they got full. They got full, and I couldn't compartmentalize anymore. Been to funerals at Just Crush, team guys. Operation Red Wings. Extortion 17 are just 2 examples. When Danny Dietz's wife got up there and spoke, I don't care how tough you are. Good news is that getting better. I don't know if I'll ever be myself. But day 2, I'm on a program. Day 2 at NICO, they gave me the stellate ganglion block and 225 grams of Effexor. And that ganglion block made me numb. I was just walking around like, whoa. And I'm still at NICO at this point, right? I've taken the ganglion block maybe once a quarter, and it's not having the same effect like it did at NICO. I've dropped down from 225 Effexor to 150. Makes me a little edgy. I can kind of feel the demon behind me. And, he's knocking on the door. But I think with the help of what you guys have done, obviously the folks at NICO, I'm the average team guy. I'm not extremely tough. I don't consider myself to be a badass. I'm just a dude who does a job. You know what? I'd do it all again. No regrets. That's all I got. Thank you.
So I want to again thank you for that absolutely outstanding insight and degree of honesty that you shared with us. I think that that's really going to help us as we take a look inwards at ourselves and how we can benefit from your experience, from listening to you, going beyond the diagnosis. And we do have a couple of minutes, and Dr. Wayne and I would like to ask you a few questions, if that's helpful.
Absolutely.
If it be possible. And really, and I'd like to start off, and I'd like to know from you, what are the characteristics of the physicians and the people that have treated you just throughout your whole course that you have found most helpful? What are those?
I think before you can really put it, before you can have a real relationship with you and your physician, you got to come clean with yourself. You got to be totally honest with the physician. He's got to be in receive mode, I think is critical. The characteristics that I've had with mine are absolutely professional. It's gotten better, obviously, before the war began. I give everybody, a 9 or 10 with their wanting to help, knowing how to help, following up, and collaborating. I've heard a couple guys mention here collaboration. Collaboration with the physical piece, the mental health piece, the physical therapy piece. I mean, it's all connected, right? I mean, you guys know how to fix a bone in the arm. It's a lot more complicated than that, and I think you guys got an idea of what it's like. So, did I answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I think that that's very helpful for us because there identified multiple characteristics that you brought out. That willingness, the openness to listen to you, the knowledge, the collaboration, and making sure that all of those things come together, that those are the ingredients of that successful healthcare team. I appreciate that. And Dr. Wayne, I'm going to let you ask our last question for the morning.
Just going to make a comment. I had a long oration prepared to talk about the biopsychosocial aspects of integrating that with patient care. Your ability to describe it did much better than any of us could have done because you integrated all those factors together. You demonstrated beautifully how the physical, the emotional, the psychiatric, and the cognitive aspects, going back to our earlier speakers as well, were all integrated together. Also, the way you took charge. He came in, we had something else planned. He walked in, he says, "This is what I'm going to do." You presented yourself beautifully. And it's very impressive how you did, but I would suggest all of us think about a patient reacting to their pain in a manner that we have to facilitate them taking control. That's exactly what you did. He also demonstrated something else one of our speakers talked about, the need for a purpose. You have a purpose while you served us in the military. You have a purpose now in educating others what is important in patient care, what you need, and how you integrate all these phenomena together. And this brings up one other question for you. Dr. Spivak asked you what were the positive aspects, but all of us face these complex patients. We got to ask ourselves, what would we do under those circumstances? What did Commander Millam's discussion do to remove some of our biases with regard to these patients? How do we maintain that therapeutic alliance so we can facilitate and utilize us as placebo factors and not suffer the narcissistic injury that many of us have in dealing with chronic pain patients? But along with this, Commander, what would you say were the deleterious impact that providers had for you? What derailed you in terms of trying to overcome?
Well, obviously, doing manipulation on the back with 2 compression fractures and no x-ray, we can start with that. I think lately, though, I think we need to really learn from maybe a guy like me, because I'm just one of hundreds, maybe thousands out there that are kind of going through this. I still have chronic pain in my lower back. I'm not too worried about the right knee. I'm not too worried about the shoulder. Chiropractor got me through buds. I don't think anybody's mentioned that yet. They ran us home. We did our last dive and dive phase, so we got all our gear on, and the instructors ran us for 4 miles after the dive in the soft sand, wearing our mask, our Drager, which has a neck strap and a back strap, fins out like this. Typical buds, right? Well, the next day we classed up in the 3rd phase, and I couldn't pass a run. I could not pass a run because I would slow down. I would get dizzy. My legs became numb. My back became numb. So I failed a bunch of runs in 3rd phase. A buddy of mine said, go see a chiropractor. So I'm in. Saw him, cracked, smoked all the runs, smoked all the swims. It's all related. It's all related. Nobody has told me to go see a chiropractor. Nobody has told me to just get stretched. Maybe release some pressure on the nerves. I haven't heard one go see a chiropractor in many years, and one got me through buds. So I would tie it all in together. It's all synced up some way or another.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We so much appreciate your generosity at coming here and talking with us. And we have a chance, if you don't mind, for just one question. And if you would be so kind as maybe to stay afterwards for
Absolutely.
other questions.
Lieutenant Commander Merlin, this is Mr. Moss. I'm the Army Comprehensive Pain Management Program Manager. Don't hold that against me. We're brother in arms. I just got a comment for you. In behalf of the military health system, you're the reason why we exist. So I just want to convey that with you. And I want to take the occasion for the people here to acknowledge Lieutenant Commander Merlin and stand up and give him a round of applause, if you don't mind, people. So please stand up.
Thank you for that, Mr. Moss.
Thank you.
Thank you again, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.